Hey guys, what's good, unapologetic gang? I just wanted to come in and drop this word real quick. So I have been ministered very seriously to, and it's not been a beautiful scolding. They say when God corrects you, it doesn't hurt, but it's definitely a lesson. So I have to tell you guys that God wants us to be a steward of our finances. This has been probably one of the hardest lessons for me. Yes, I have been through ups and downs. There have been a lot of learning processes in my way. So just a little bit of a background. I had much, but I was literally living paycheck to paycheck. And I didn't think that the road to get to where we're going was going to feel like this. God gives us lessons, and sometimes they're great lessons, and you get a bunch of money and you learn to spend it. And then what happens next? So I was like, well, I'm good. I've got all this. But I was realizing I was crashing kind of quickly. I was listening to a lot of talks all throughout this time. And this type of money I hadn't seen in about 7-8 years, like that kind of money. And so when it finally hit my hands, the first thing I did was I was like, okay, what am I going to do with it? That was my first question. So the one piece of financial advice that saved me was always listening to people who had tons of money and how different people were investing. At the beginning, I was really not interested in stocks. I was aware that things are about to crash. And so I just started listening to, collecting certain things that you could just save in your storehouse or keep it in a storage, different collectibles. So I began doing that. That was the first process. I said, okay, I remember the first time I bought a collectible, I just felt like I was the richest woman in the world. Now, the lesson that we're asked now is to steward our finances. Every dollar has to be asked. We have to ask God what to do with it. Now, that's hard, especially when, I think I'm saving, and I look at a lot of the other people who have much and they start asking themselves, what am I going to do about it? And I'm like, I did the same thing, Like, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about my finances? And they make almost $40,000 a month. And, sorry about that. And they're really kind of, they skim in one place and splurge in another. And that's what I saw myself doing. I was skimming in a lot of places. I would invest, and then I would go and eat out because at the place where I was living, it just really made more sense because I had a shared kitchen. So it made more sense to go and eat out for like $1.50 or $2.50 and have that just be my lunch and move on about my day. Well, things started happening. I thought I was doing well. Everything I was investing in, I was really super tight with my money. I was squeezing it so tight. And I didn't want to sneeze. I would splurge here or there. I want transportation, so I would get myself a bike, or I would pay for a taxi when it's super late. This doesn't sound like a lot, but then came winter of last year. And that's when I started really doubling down. I felt like it was important for me to pay the extra money for tickets to make connections in conferences. A lot of my money was going to conferences. A lot of my money this is where I was splurging. But by the time it came out for my book to come, I'm telling you, honey child, I was just so thankful and blessing God because I had all this money that I didn't have to worry about. I paid easily for the U.S., for the Library of Congress to copyright my books. I paid a lot of money for my ISBN numbers. Okay, mind you, I self-published my own book. So translating the book also cost in 6 different times because the book is in 7 languages. I tried to look for as many ways I could to kind of make that come to fruition. The graphic designer needed to be paid. So when it came down to printing the book, they had to still do some editing because I have different editions for the book. I needed to have it formatted for Amazon and for e-Kindle, and that was a different type of book. So all of these things were starting to kind of come up. And then at the same time, I was like, well, I would travel to get out of one place because God was working on me. So here I have the ability to just get up and leave. Thank you, God, for blessing my transportation. I could just get up and leave up out of this town and go to a cold place where there's nothing to do but sit, drink coffee, and work. So then there were other costs I had to remember. I had to maybe eating out at a restaurant so you could sit and use their Wi-Fi. Coffee shops, sit and use their Wi-Fi. Co-working fees. So all this started adding up, and I understand it lasted much longer time than I'd expected or wanted. Starting different types of endeavors also costs, and the legal fees and administrative fees and the bureaucratic fees associated with all of these things absolutely cost. So fast forward, I'm seeing myself having to things are starting to get kind of tight. And so I have to go and all the things that I ended up collecting, I have to now release because I'm like, was there a place where maybe I could have, been tighter a little bit? Now I'm going back to the people who are, show how they spend their money. Oh, I'm a cheapskate. And then they go and splurge on something else. They don't eat food, but they'll go and splurge on a night out. So this is what I was seeing myself doing, especially in a space where I'm always traveling. I'm not in one space. I wanted to, sometimes I felt like it was important. If there is a place to quote unquote splurge on, it would be my housing. If there's a place that I needed to feel the most comfortable, it's so I could just get a nice place to stay. But sometimes after a while, without knowing the place and just directly moving there to visit, it's 2 very different dynamics. And so in the space of still wanting to learn and appreciate the world, sometimes it is easier and more economical to just leave, to pack up and go to a next city. So I'm seeing that, and I had to get rid of a lot of my collections. And now to the point where I am now, I'm kind of sitting here and I'm literally waiting for a check. You guys, this is so scary. I mean, I have finances, but it's not to where I was before. And finally, it's just not a comfortable space. I think most of us are been in this place where people are like, there is a lot coming and I actually really need it. It's not to the point where it's funny anymore. I had tried fasting. I said, okay, in the book of Daniel fasted for 21 days. He had a diet, a very specific diet, so he could hear God better. When things was trapped, when the second heaven got his money, got his blessing. So I'm like, okay, look, I know I'm going to do this. And it's literally 21 days is the cycle. And I'd seen that now it had come to a spot of delay. And it's gotten to the point where that's all I do. I check obsessively. But I remember a word. You guys, I have been connected to someone. And I remember that somebody who does a word every month, she said, I think sometime last year in March and April, she said, I see you writing every single thing down. Now, this is something I had done in the past. I had been really obsessed with finances in the past. But I actually started getting into these videos of people cash stuffing. And I cannot, like, the feeling of counting all that money is so satisfying. And now I've really been watching and getting into how to really invest in cash stuffing and different savings challenges and long term. So when it's fine, no problem. I have multiple bank accounts. Isn't that what we all have? And no time at all. Things are going to get better. And so I was thinking that was going to be my own case. I was really believing that like, okay, like, why are people having all of these, problems holding on to money? But it got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, all I'm doing is investing and I'm not seeing that much of a return, especially something as lofty as a hefty investment as a book. Then it got to the point where I was going to conferences and I was like, well, I can't not go to conferences. It's so important for me to have my educational fund. Conferences. So I need to keep learning and networking. If we're not networking, what are you doing? I mean, remember, the same blessing that will come is not from just the heavens. It's going to come from a human being. It could come from your worst enemy. It could come from somebody who you loved 10 years ago and you just don't talk anymore. And it could come from your best friend. So staying open and wanting to meet people is staying open to God, right? So it's really important for me to get to that place. But I remembered this word and, I knew that I would go to certain conferences and I would only write down what was incoming, even though I had this very heavy stream and it had not been a problem. And then I'm literally praying like, God, I don't know what to do now. Now I'm getting nervous. Please help me. I really don't know what to do. And God's saying, okay, I can help you, but it's got to work out like this. So you're going to be in a tough spot and you're going to have to learn how, and it's not tough because it's coming, but the thing is, it's like when, right? Every day, every hour, when. It feels like that. So in this space, it's coming to a space of fruition, but I'm starting to see that some of these prophetic words are starting to come in. Why also am I saying this? Because we are all about to get tons of discretionary income. I talked about something last night. I was online looking and there's something called UBI, Universal Basic Income. Now, I've been watching a lot of people who are in the collectible and the precious metal fields, and they're all saying, prepare now, UBI's here, UBI. Your score. Now, these were not just conspiracy theories. You guys, this was something that this is real stuff that's actually coming to fruition. I was seeing all kinds of states, North Carolina, Louisiana, New York, California, they're all offering some kind of base pay for a lot of people. Although it's not at the point where it's at a federal level, it's still at a state level. So this is a point where I'm like, okay, so things are about to get really good for a little people for a short amount of time. It's important because we're all kind of at this space where we're either coming up or, we're just fed up. Okay, and you're on this verge. Literally, everybody's on a come up right now. So being prepared for this and remembering the prophetic word and saying, this money's going to go here. This money's going to go here and here and here. But to the point where we're completely budgeting and literally in control of every single one of our finances and asking God, can the money go here? It's a lot, it's a lot easier to say when you don't have much. God, I got $20. Can I spend my last $150 on this one bag of chips? Or should I just go home? Should I eat out? Or is it better for me to go to the grocery store and see what kind of cheap stuff I can spend? And then for me, it becomes it's so analytical, because the amount of time I would spend in a grocery store walking around looking for the things I want to eat to make certain meals versus the time I could just sit down, get something to eat, pay 20, 30, $2, $3, and then get out. It's a different experience, right? So it's a lot of things to consider, but this is a place where I pray that nobody ever has to get here again. Some prayers is not like, God, deliver me. It's, what do I need to do so I never have to be at this space again? So I want to turn you guys on to, there's different kinds of budgeting and YouTube videos. And if you could just be a little bit, not just, oh, okay, guard your finances, watch your credit. That's not really the type of education that we're talking about. It's wanting definitely a drastic turnaround, even if it's 3 days or a week. That's still a long time, and not for it to just be gone, right? Because you know something's incoming. It's managing what you have now, so when the rest comes, it's not like you threw it away. You want to honor God now. So that's it, guys. I just want to share that with you. Definitely go ahead and do what you can to get into budgeting. Like, I will go ahead and link a few of the YouTube videos I had. One of them is called Dino Budgets. The other one is Baddies. I'll just go ahead and link them. I can't really remember because I watched one and it was the first time I'd ever seen that. The next was to really ask God about every single thing that you're planning to do. Living super tight. Because, I mean, when you have a debit card or you're just taking a little bit of cash out, it's a different experience. You just go out and you're like, oh, I'll treat myself today. And you realize, wait a minute, the last time I said that was like yesterday. Oh, it's okay. You know, I was watching 1,000-Pound Sisters, and one of them was severely, she was over 600 pounds. And it's like her family was enabling her. They would cook all this cake, a huge dish of it. They would all take one piece, and then she would get a second there looking at her side-eyed. Why would you put a big piece of cake in front of somebody who's morbidly obese and then ask her, well, should you take a second piece? Like, she doesn't have self-control. Of course not. And then she said, oh, don't worry, I'll start tomorrow. So I was seeing that within myself, in my own finances, like, I'll treat myself today. Oh, don't worry, I'll budget tomorrow. Like, I was doing this. I was doing this a lot. I just pray that this message blesses you guys. Don't start tomorrow. Ask God about your finances. Get into budgeting. Prepare right now for what you're going to do and build up whatever you need. I mean, thank God I still had a revenue stream that I was able to, take care of that. But now I'm not in a space of, oh, okay, ask that to me. Okay, I did. Yesterday, I went and bought a bag of chips, and I probably didn't need to do that. And I just said, don't worry, ask that tomorrow. So don't start tomorrow. Start today, guys. Pray about it and get ready, because what you're going to have a little bit, this is what it's going to take to have what you're asking God for. It's not just an easy walk in the park. We're detoxing old beliefs. Unfortunately, many of us didn't have this in our families. I didn't have finances in my families either. I had to just kind of understand how to do things on my own. And trust me, it's been hard. It's been really hard. But I'm very appreciative of this space, and I want to bring this knowledge to you guys. And again, I'm not just saying, oh, do this. No, it's because I'm doing it, or I've seen that it's worked for me in the past. But definitely don't keep all of your money in the bank. Learn some form of investment, so when you get into a bind and a pickle and a pinch, you have something that you can say, okay, it's not that big of a problem because I have a reserve, but that's actually meant to be my reserve. All right, guys, I just feel like this is going to be pretty, it's like a series. So I'll see you on the next time. Please let me know what's going on in your situation. Are you guys in the same space? Okay. God bless you. See you. Bye.